English along the way. Bene, torniamo in campo, una slot a sinistra, 2 ricevitori a destra, ancora il numero 8 quarterback al lancio, questa volta per il numero 22 che prende molto bene l'ovale, fa un primo down
prima convocazione in nazionale, anche lui giovane, e ancora porta lui la palla, un grande atleta
touchdown Inghilterra. Back per la Gran Bretagna, trips destra, Josh Holzbrook adesso cerca il lungo, va sull'angolo ma la palla è decisamente fuori. Ancora palla al centro, ancora il numero 22, ancora dentro. Non dire qualcosa. Adesso Holzbrook sposta un uomo, una formazione molto stretta per la Gran Bretagna, ancora lui, ancora Obi ed è touchdown Gran Bretagna, touchdown Great Britain. Dwanye Obi running the ball into the end zone. Un primo e 10 per la Gran Bretagna dalle 48 yard in territorio italiano. Spero di aver fatto bene l'esame arbitrale.
Esatto.
Single back, man in motion. Holzbrook ancora in backfield, adesso era buona la penetrazione difensiva, però il numero 22, sempre lui, Dwanye Obi.
Dei Devils My Night Runners.
Ah, guarda un po'.
Esatto.
E qui però intanto la Gran Bretagna gioca. Holzbrook che chiede ancora la palla, scarica sulla flat di
giocate, è evidente, hanno praticamente cambiato tutte le giocate del playbook.
Movimento sull'esterno per questo screen abbastanza telefonato. Adesso è chiaro che di forza, potenza e peso il ballback, trips a destra, la palla è ancora per lui, come esce e come salta. Beh, insomma, per pesare 130 kg sì, mi sembra una meraviglia. Adesso 107. C'è anche
Many people in the American football community, including myself, were introduced to Obi in the 2022 European qualifier. And since then, he has put up some of the best numbers in the GFL that the league has seen in 10 years. And I am very aware we're only in week 2, so I might be jumping the gun, but he has been unbelievable. Just how unbelievable has he been 2 weeks in? I'm glad you asked. This is a graph that shows every year that a player averaged over 100 yards. McClendon had 16, 17 and 18 seasons, all very successful. McCoy managed to do it in a 3-year stretch between 2014 and 2016. Deed had an unholy year in 2013 where he averaged over 210 yards a game. In 2022, Bajerinen showed flashes, now he's on the Vienna Vikings. He's one of my favourite young talents in the entire league. In 2021, Glenn Tonga continued to prove why he's one of the best in Europe. With 157.5 yards per game, Obi is well on his way, if he continues this productivity, to being in the 6th most successful season in yards per game in the last 10 GFL years. Now I can already hear what some people are going to say. It's all well and good averaging 8.5 yards a carry if you barely ever touch the ball in a season. So here's every single player that has averaged the same or more yards per carry than Obi has. This is him right now, in week 2. Where we stand. There are many players with under 100 carries and he's already very close. So I took his yards per carry, I multiplied it by his lowest amount of touches this season, I then times it by the amount of games in the GFL, and here he would be with his lowest touches he has had this year. The same goes for his current touches per game. The same goes for his highest amount of touches he's had this year, which was last week against the Dolphins, where he got 22 rushes for 203 yards. That's 9.2 yards per carry. That's more than he's averaging already, at 8.5. This is absurd. Long story short, if he continues his productivity, he gets 250 attempts, or 200 attempts, or 175 attempts. It doesn't matter. He's already primed for one of the best seasons of the last decade. Kind of ignore Deed. He just does his own thing. He nearly got 4,000. We'll get to Deed in a minute. If you're still in denial about him being an elite running back, I have one more piece that might change your mind. Here is every single 1,000 yard season that the GFL has seen since 2013. Using the same thing we did with the touches to see how many yards he would get. Here is his lowest based on his week 1 carries. If he maintains the same amount of productivity he's had this season. This equates to 1,530 yards. That's more than Pajerin then, that's more than Tonga, that's more than Carswell. This is more than Asita. These are great players and we are seeing him maybe go over them if he continues his productivity on the lowest carries he's had this season. His medium is 1,717 yards, which is again edging into that top echelon. And then, again, hypothetically, if he continues this high-level production with his highest number of carries he's had this year, which, may I remind you, he averaged his highest yards per carry on his highest touches this season, he will get 2,244 yards. That is a top 5 season in the last decade of the GFL. Apart from Deed, who got 3,623, which is just ridiculously insane. What's even crazier, this is Dwanye's first season in professional American football in Europe. What's even worse is we could have had him in the ELF. There are teams with my reports in their messages that had him on a must sign. I had him as a key player, but I guess we'll never know. Thank you and goodbye.